Erudia, an ancient land where gods walk among men. A living, breathing, high fantasy world that we want to put into your hands. But we cannot do this alone. In order to bring you back to what tabletop is about, combat, exploration, adventure, we need your help to bring it to life. By supporting us on Patreon, you can support this project and the cast of Moonskull, with our promise that we will answer to the only people that matter. You. Legend Seeker. Your legend starts here. Forge your path. Shape your destiny.
Well, hello, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me and my mic is working today because it likes to be stupid lately. I'm Frost, and I'm here waiting for a confirmation that people are doing what I asked them to do over at work over there, 3 feet away. But I'm here to work on lore for Legend Seeker. You can see the logo up there. Big old dragon thing with a book. And yeah, I'm writing lore, and we're going to lore it up. I will have to stop a little tiny bit early because on Tuesdays I have a real life game right after this, and I haven't eaten almost anything today. I've had a lot of coffee though. So I'm going to be scarfing, I don't know what down, something, maybe. My big plan today was to make a roast over in the air fryer because I was going to try and see how you make a roast in an air fryer. That didn't happen. So at some point I'm going to figure out how to do it. Anyway, I've got coffee, I've got words I can type, and I'm going to do it. And we did not suffer the fate I thought we were going to suffer last night on a bridge in a forgotten city under the Australian sands last night in Masks of Nyarlathotep. Here on Moonskull. Yeah. At work, leave me alone. Yeah, I'd love to do that. At work, leave me alone. They said no. I'm just gonna say they said no. All right. I was working on a few things at the top of the document. Sea Beast Legends. Just pointing out after I talked about the waterways of the Godlands, like the Godland Strait and the different areas of the oceans and the Umbral Sea, that most of the coastal groups and people and cities have legends of sea beasts that are out there. Now, there are 2 that are known, Aig and Brime, the huge skip-back testas, the tortoise island things that move around out here. They're known because they kind of move around the wake of the Thalassia's Eye or the storm around the Umbral Atoll. And they're real. Sailors love them. They're good luck charms. But there are other things out here that they talk about that may not be real, but might be. Like the aboleths that are supposedly in the depths of the ocean in Lost Thalassia, the Selkies and the sirens that live around the coasts of Agrium, the dragon shark, the enormous scaled dragon shark that patrols the waters around Kiru, and there's supposedly in the Umbral Sea past Sharkfin Point, somewhere in here, there's supposed to be a massive moonfish that can talk, but it's all legends. You said no. Got very slurpy last night. Yes, it did. Slurpee was the name of the game. Let's be honest. There were sucker feet and slurpy noises and slippy, slappy noises and air and exhaling and bad dreams. It was not a fun time for anyone who doesn't like those noises. It was a bad thing. It was a bad thing, man. So, yeah, so Sea Beast Legends. I wrote all that stuff down, noted all that. I would like to be able to get some I'm gonna set my headrest back up. So get some art, some of those at some point. It'd be kind of fun, like to have, because I mentioned in there that one of the things that sailors do and on boats and stuff, they'll like do a tattoo of dragon shark off the coast of Kiru or something. And I'd love to get some like little line art of like sailory type tribal Maori, who knows what tattoos that look like, you know, the great dragon shark or the aboleths or the selkies, or, you know, fun things like that. Be kind of entertaining. Did someone slurp soup? No, it was just literally Moss making noises, because they made a lot of, there's a lot of things in Cthulhu that make horrible noises. We'll just say that. And nobody likes them. What is this note? Why, what? Why did that pop up? Huh? Okay. Somebody just sent me notes. They sent me a recording of a meeting and it popped up as a new meeting. And I'm like, yeah. I mean, in addition to the slurpy noises, there was a lot of, what's the word? Susurration. And he didn't do any of that ululating stuff, which was good, but susurration, it's a fun word. Lots of that. Hopefully not a sea hag. Those things were, well, I think that some sailor out there has probably got a sea hag tattoo. I'm just gonna say somebody would do it. Some guy. He would name her Big Bertha. Where did I? Oh, there we go. There's the rookery. Yep. Okay. Making sure that I noticed where, or remembered where something was here. All right, that's tower code data. Rule. Who says nobody likes slurping? Nobody likes slurping. Everybody hates it. This is known. This is known amongst all civilized folk. You don't slurp your soup. You don't eat your food with your fingers unless it's pizza or a taco, you know, bread-based things like that, where you can contain it and stop your hands from getting all gross. And you never double dip anything. I don't care what it is. That's just rude. Unless you're all by yourself, then double dip all you want, because it's just you. With your family and friends, it's mean, man. And I don't care about germs. I just find it funny. Because I've had people at our family events and stuff. I mostly pick on them. They're like, take a piece of celery, dip it in something, eat, and then turn the piece of celery around and then dip it in. I was like, sneaky way to double dip. You're like, yeah, this way I didn't put the part with my mouth in there. I was like, yeah, you just put the part that had your fingers all over it back in. Might as well scoop the dip up with your fingers. And they're like, well, I didn't think about that. I was like, I don't care. I just like making people uncomfortable. I'm of the mind that the more people get together and hang out with each other, the more that they transfer germs and things back and forth, the better off their immune systems are. So I know I'm a nutcase. I'm weird. Asians aren't civilized. They slurp their soup. What if I have my own dip? If you have your own dip, is fine. But nope. Then if they slurp their soup, they're not civilized. The same thing with my German family when they belch after eating because it's, you know, good form. I'm like, you guys are a bunch of uncivilized monsters. Take the good to make the bad, to take the broth, and then you have the slurps of life. Very nice, Havoc. Very nice. Now, if you don't know what he's singing, you need to go listen to the Facts of Life theme song. Mythbusters disproved the dip thing. Well, Mythbusters has tried to disprove a lot of stuff, and where did that get them? Canceled. I don't know where I was going with that besides they're canceled. I quite honestly, I think it's hilarious. So many people are upset about it. I just love causing problems. It's kind of my thing. Other people think they're chaotic. I'm real chaos. I'm subtle chaos. All the slurping on Thursday night. No. So if I don't want to get sick, I have to socialize with people? Nah, you're fine. You're fine like you are. You can hide out and drink your old lady tea and be totally fine. It's going to work out for you. Maybe. I'm mingled with everyone all the time throughout anybody who was willing to hang out and do anything through the entire lockdowns. I wore a mask twice. And I never got it. So, I still think it's because of all the bone broth. Commonly known as the Scar, deep, jagged red rock range and canyon is where Senna's form crashed to the surface of Erudia after being mortally wounded by Grit's breath weapon. Muddy River is tinged. I'm going to say is rivers. We're going to say rivers. Because it doesn't make sense to be only fed by one river. In the mountains. There we go. Civilization is for losers. There you go. Mythbusters quit, not canceled. Oh. That's what I'd say too if I got canceled. Supposedly the walrus looking one absolutely hated the other guy because he wasn't serious enough. Oh, really? Well, I guess I could see that. I don't know if I'm not sure if I could see them really hating each other, but I could see them disliking each other. So then again, somebody working that closely with someone all that time, you can get a lot of built up animosity. 100% Jensen. On what part, Dave? Jamie hated Adam. Oh, okay. I just thought you were just saying Jensen was right. Complete brain fart their names. Well, I know Grant died, right? And maybe one of the other guys died too. And then the girl went on. I think she was going to have her own show at one point, didn't she? Did she have her own show? I don't remember. Yeah, parts of that show I really enjoyed. It was kind of fun. Other episodes, I'm like, oh, I don't know why this episode is so boring. I just went and watched something else. Of course, I also enjoyed watching American Pickers. And then, people were like, oh, yeah, these guys don't even like each other. And it's like all faked and they make everything up. And I'm like, well, gee, really? No way. But the thing I loved about it is they were in Iowa where I used to live, and you would drive out in the country. You just drive past houses and you're like, that barn has to have at least one car under a tarp. It's probably got trunks of stuff, old circus posters, and there's at least two things in there that are worth a ton of money that nobody's going to find for 40 years. And hopefully no bodies. The girl had a kid. Oh, really? I had no idea. My gosh, I can't even remember her name. There was somebody on the show named Tori? Was that one of the guys? Or was that her? You can tell I was completely obsessed. I don't remember. All right, I'm going through this. When the rainy season hits, also bleed the piece of season. Trees killed, the river runs red. Hits. I don't need to say from the rains twice. Look at that. I'm getting rid of words. Grant died of a brain aneurysm. One of the ladies as well, not the redhead. Wow. Tori was the guy. Okay, Tori was the guy. Carrie was the other major one. Carrie, okay. Yeah. Did a show on an island with Richard Hamm. Really? You know what I miss on TV? This is going to sound totally like me, but also kind of funny. There used to be shows around that time that were kind of getting into the idea of the whole prepper thing. Not the weird ones where they made preppers look like they were idiots, but the ones where they were doing like a game show where they put people in an area and they said, here's this huge set of square footage of like 12 warehouses in Detroit or wherever the hell they were at, or Philadelphia somewhere, where there's nobody around, and they would shoot a whole show and say, hey, there's stuff in here. Try to survive. And they would just try it. I'm like, those were fun. I like those shows because I love those kind of games. There's nothing like that out there anymore. It's all about people giving roses to other people or eating, shaking salads in bowls, or who knows, whatever the hell else they do. Oh God, what was it? The Korean one where you had to stop or you got killed and do puzzles and stuff. Whatever. The Squid Game. I almost called it Octopus something. I'm like, Squid Game. Got it. I figured it out in the end. All right. Back into this. Senna's fall. In the wake of her fall, the Vale became a refuge for many humans and dwarves. Or I don't need to say many. Freshly revealed rock faces rich in iron they could use to arm and defend themselves with. As the war drew on, it was apparent that Crick had avoided the area of fall, making it a natural place for refugees to gather in relative safety. Safe delete. No L in safety. Survival got too real. Yeah. Yeah, we had a guy at my work. I'm trying to remember what year he died in. 2010? I don't remember. One of our artists, concept artists, he just, same kind of thing. Young guy, just boom, brain aneurysm, died. Oh, I got a friend request. Oh man, it's from some random person who I've never heard of with a profile picture with pink hair. Oh, look, ignore. Look at that. Weird. Wow. In the safe for work, non-show art, he just posted a picture of me. It's disturbing. It's Magic Frost. Wow. World's okayest wizard. Conjure coffee. Save the realms. Pet cats. Take naps. Repeat. Wow. Now brewing hot potions and bad decisions? What? There's so much stuff in that picture, I can't even process it. But yeah, if you go look and safe for work, non-show art. All right, let's see here. You came up with Bungle Grog last time. Yes. It is made with fungus, and they have a lot of varieties of it. They have minor varieties that are syrupy and thick and sweet. They have more distilled versions that they have that are the finer drinks you have while you're negotiating trade deals. But yeah, fungal grog. Prepper stuff, a couple of months of food, solar panel, largest battery pack, water purification thingies. Yeah, some people can get crazy with it. I have a good amount of stuff here because it's just easy, and I like having the backups. And I'll eat the stuff. I keep going every month or two. I go through the stuff, and I'm like, oh, this stuff's going to expire in like a month, and I'll just eat it for a meal or something, or make it. I mean, some of the stuff is like 25 years shelf life, so I don't have to worry about it, but. So I've had some of it for a while now. So, the pinnacle of bad decisions. You just didn't tell me and make me feel bad. Oh, well, that was nice of you, but that was foolish. Yeast is fungus, and I'm dumb. No, you're not dumb. But yeah, this is they make it right out of the mushrooms and stuff. Commuting. Good luck, commute. Commute like a king. Right. Okay, that works. That feels better. Riven Mont. This is a human and dwarven mining and craft outpost near Silas Fall, founded by the humans during the war to support the efforts. Now honors a local dwarven heroine who gave her life, saving a group of human refugees. The politics surrounding her sacrifice both united and divided the humans and dwarves who reside in the surrounding area. Let's change that. All right, we're going to change that from passive to present. Okay, that works better. Hello, dragon. I live where there are tornadoes and occasional ice storms. It's not obscene to think I may need them someday. Yeah, I mean, I've used the stuff before when it's been like so cold and icy and gross that it's not easy or feasible to go out to the store to get other stuff. So I just dug into my stuff over there. I mean, I have those number 10 cans of things like dried vegetable mix or dried milk or dried whatever and stuff. And it doesn't make fabulously great food, but it has nutrition and it is food. And so I've made soups in a crock pot with it. I'll just take a whole pile of the stuff and a bunch of like the powdered or bouillon or whatever it is, and throw a whole bunch of stuff together and make a huge crock pot of like soupy stew stuff. It's food. Here to do 3 things. Eat steak, make baby, run like hell. In that order, right? Just checking. And iron clay, but which are God Killer Touch varieties of these 2. Are clay and iron. I'm sounding like X-Ray Girl. Iron. Is iron. Let's see. The mineral. Clay. Is clay a mineral? Okay. Because I want to refer to the iron and the clay both as minerals to make it easy here. I'm going to probably have some geologists come at me. But that's okay. Is that like the Baby Shark song? Yeah, I have Mountain House. I have some of those. Those don't last as long as the other things, so I'll just have them occasionally to get them off of there. A while back, I knew a guy who could get like military surplus stuff. So I got like range ammo from him and stuff, for, not the greatest deal, but kind of a good deal. He had very limited supplies when he would get a hold of stuff from surplus auctions and whatnot. But one of the things he got a hold of that were awesome, but he's never been able to get them again because I think they may have changed what they give to those groups, is the spec ops forces and like Delta and all these guys, SEALs and people who go into deep areas where they have to carry food and it has to be even denser and less space taking. Has to be compact, let's just say that. They had LRPs, which were long range patrol rations, and they were usually a little like MRE envelope, but they were condensed down into like a brick. Like it was a hard brick. And I got some of those. Those were actually kind of good. They were like chicken tortellini and these other things. You just put hot water in the thing and heated them up. And those suckers, because they were freeze dried and they didn't have moisture, you had to add water. Those are pretty good, but I can't find those anymore. That's a baby daddy. Half blind man with a gun. Yeah. Pew, pew, pew. Let me tell you, learning how to shoot with my other hand, it's not very fun. I don't like it. Because all the guns that I use and have had, they eject on the right. So it's like, right-handed gun, I'm like firing, but that's my blind side. So trying to shoot the other way, it's like, my arms getting hit with brass. Not fun. I tried a brass catcher on like a couple of the guns, and those things have a propensity for slipping a tiny bit and then getting in the way of rounds coming out or the casings coming out. And yeah, it doesn't work well. Don't like it. Been looking to getting a left-handed upper on something. Whee! And I can do none of them very well. So there. Guy in Tremors has a bunch of those, but they can't tell which ones are food and which ones are toilet paper. Nice. Well, you open it up and you take your chances. Perfect. All right. We'll say the. There. We'll say, I like rephrasing that. There we go. This doesn't have a definition with it, or it doesn't have a heading. Why did that not get a heading? Huh. Well, how I did that. All right, there we go. This is why I go through these. I keep finding little things like, oh, that section doesn't have a header. Bam. You go to medieval times. I'm going to guess that they probably do, and they probably go to Ren fairs, and they probably go to SCA tournaments, and there's another group like that. Oh my gosh, what are they called? It's the one that Shadiversity goes to. He goes to starts with an H. They do the fighting techniques from the medieval times. Whatever it is. I gotta getting good with Shad and those guys, because they do writing and fantasy stuff, and he mentioned John Douglas writing. I'm like, oh cool, they know each other. I was like, I gotta figure out how to get known. Oh, I have to probably manage to have time to put one of my books out here, or find a lit agent. Damn it. But work and Legend Seeker taking up all my time. Right, where is it here? Oop. Late? LARP? Yeah, I mean, I can see well enough. I just have floaters in there that do this, and so I'll move my eye to get them out of the way. Usually when I'm reading, I can read well enough. I can see stuff, but it's still a pain in the butt. Pain in the butt. Okay, clay market. Catch-all phrase for the market where all the local stone, clay, and ceramic wares are sold. Local natural prevalent. Oops. Just say transactions. Yeah, we'll go with that. I should probably say handled. Say handled again. We'll say away from the main streets. There we go. We'll go with that. Bang. I did it. But I don't need the word and in the sentence twice. No matter how many times I like to say and. Once is good. Shad sucks. No, I just want to give him a hard time because he thinks medieval people wouldn't be absolutely filthy to look at. No, they're perfectly clean at all times. Yeah, I could get a deflector. Yep. I just, I tried catchers and was just like, meh. Music had a flashing light. I left and boom! Handsome wizard, huh? Mm-hmm. That's me, totally handsome, with the deer talking about me. Making a level for something realistic is very different because you have to look at the architecture for a level as not only representative, like this needs to look like an office building, but it also has to have the right scale for a player. It has to have the right dimensions for cover. It has to have all the bits and pieces, and you can't have every pane of glass breakable everywhere because then you basically have just a sponge or a Swiss cheese building. So you have to decide, hey, these front pieces are breakable. These front pieces aren't because they have bulletproof glass or they have something in them. So we restrict how you get through and this and that. So you have to look at real world architecture with a fine eye and a grain of salt to make it work for gameplay and find ways to work around it. With fantasy stuff, you're like, look, an 18-foot doorway with flanking columns and crystals that give off light. So fantasy, you can go nuts with. Real world stuff, you have to be careful. Because even sometimes you put something together and you build a building and people are like, what kind of drugs were you on when you made this? And you show them the reference of the actual building. They're like, this is the real building. We built it very close and it looks just like it. They will still just be like, it doesn't look real. Because certain buildings that people build, you may know they exist, but they don't look real, even if they are real. So, that's always fun. Beautiful last night. So glad I don't listen to Sirenscape. Deer? Oh, yeah, if you look in the pet, or wait, did I put them in the pet place photos? I don't know, something like that. There's some deer out in my, the meadow, my side yard meadow. They were gossiping about me. Jerks. You can tell they're gossiping about me. Oh, I get to use my new dice tonight in my real life game, by the way. I get to use my Black Cat dice. Yeah, architects couldn't necessarily do the job before because they get stuck on things. But that's why I love... I gotta move this stuff aside. I knocked everything over. That's why I love this book. Architecture, form, space, and order. It just shows you how buildings work and shapes and paths and symmetry and just how structures all relate to one another in all types of buildings. It's a fantastic book. It is great. One of my favorite architecture books I have. And then I can look at it all and say, this is fantastic. Now I'm going to ignore half of it. And yeah, the one guy we had who was an architect, he was really passionate. He loved working on the stuff on Jedi with us, but his buildings and shapes and stuff, he take too much time trying to explain, you know, how you had to have structures underneath these pieces of architecture, and you couldn't have this overhang without having kind of supporting structure. And if you built it this way, the building would crumble and fall apart. Just like, neat, but this is Star Wars, so yeah. Yeah, deer are talking about me. I mean, I literally looked at them, and one of them was eating apples off the lower part of my tree. She ran over to the other one, hopped over the little pile of cinder blocks, and then stopped and turned and looked at me, looked at the other one, like their heads right next to each other. I'm like, yeah. All right, so now that I'm back in clay market land here, merchants and wholesalers that work with the locals for larger orders rarely frequent the main areas of the clay market, their transactions being handled in the merchants' yards. Here, carts, animals, and pallets of goods are kept away from the main streets. There we go, shoppers. I won't say customers. Customer sounds weird. Customer sounds weird. Fun to roleplay D&D. It would be kind of mean, though, if you wanted to drive somebody a little crazy. Have a druid or somebody else shape change into a deer or a couple of deer, or polymorph a couple people into, you know, the semblance of deer, and just make it look like two deer, or like always following a guy around and like whispering, looking at him. Old bearded monkey. Deer laughter. Damn it. Deer people talk about me all the time. Wrong kind, Dave. Wrong kind. All right, Red Clef near Rivermont is a small but popular destination featuring a great cenote, driving visitors to stay and sample local baths, as well as to descend the 300 stairs to ascend as well. A red pool of mineral-rich water that fills the basin below. Famed for its healing properties, visitors can pay a toll to descend to the pool and wade through the water for a brief time. Those that cannot make the descent on their own can either be carried or lowered via a sturdy and ingenious dwarven maid Like that. Lift to the garden basin below. On festival days, the pool is filled with locally made ceramic bowls which float and bump into one another in the cenote's vault, creating an unearthly chorus of bell-like sounds driven only by the water's movements as it ebbs and flows in the pool. Hey. I like that idea of that place. I like Red Cliff. I like it. It'll be fun. The White Watch. Da-da-da. These guys staring out at the Whitewood. The garrison on the outskirts of Ribbonmont is home to the bulk of the defensive forces of the city and surrounding areas. Maintained by paladins of the Order of the Chrysalis, they allow people from any walk of life to serve in the ranks of the White Watch. Bunch of squirrels into deer a week before deer hunting starts, and the hunter goes out and only finds squirrels. Mean. Funny, but mean. We had a guy back when we were playing Rollmaster who we needed food, and one of the guys went out hunting, so this guy went with him. And this guy was he's one of those players who just didn't, he's just like, well, why wouldn't you do the thing if you could do the thing? And it's like, the DM for us at that time, my friend was kind of like, well, that's kind of, it's not how people would act in a fantasy world most of the time, because he was just, acting. He always acted like he was just himself put in whatever situation. He's like, it would be foolish and unrealistic to expect anyone to do this. It's like, yes, okay, unburdened by centuries of the ways of thinking of your forebears completely, because you are a modern man in a fantasy world, evidently. But that all said, they would go out hunting and they would see deer, and the guy's like, oh, I got to get a little closer, going to line up my shot. And he's like, oh, that doesn't matter. My shock bolt has a much longer range than I can totally do this. I can upgrade it. I've got abilities and stuff. And he's like, shock bolt. And he's just obliterating deer with shock bolts. And it annoyed our DM so much because he was a hunter too. And he's like, because he loved the idea of the hunt and, outwitting the animal and paying respects to it and this and that. And this guy just goes out and goes, Bacha! It's just like obliterating poor defenseless animals that are like, Leary, do you hear something? Nope. Ah! I see a deer just go, and fall over dead. So, yeah. Hello, Cajun Corey. We're talking about shock bolting deer. Especially the deer that were gossiping about me. And that's where it all ended. All right, we're talking about the garrison here. They stand as the last line of defense against anything that may turn its eye towards the land around Santa's Fall. They pay particular attention to the activity on the eaves of the Whitewood. Also patrol the Silver Road between Silverton to Vindonis. If you guys haven't seen, by the way, in the Legend Seeker stuff, that Belrock is going to be hosting a game, and it's going to be featuring the Azure Kingdom. So he's going to be doing a whole, and it's going to be a long-term campaign. So if you can sign up for it, you could play with characters that are not the stock characters. You make characters, play through an actual campaign with him. He's going to be doing that in this area. So go peek at that in Discord if you want to get into a campaign that is going to be doing the normal stuff in the world. Would Shockbolt blow up the deer and ruin the meat? Well, the funny thing is, in Rollmaster, it depended on how much damage you did and how much of a critical you did. So normally, you're going to hit the thing, do a lot of damage, it might be bleeding and this and that, and there you go. But if you get a really horrific critical, you could do some horrible things to a creature and possibly ruin it, yeah. Yes, you can play with Sassy in that. Wednesday evening with the Rude Eye. When is Velrock's campaign? Do you know off the top of your head? Sassy or Dave? I don't remember what day of the week it is going to be. Is it Wednesday? Or I don't remember off the top of my head, quite honestly. But yeah, I think it's going to be fun. We'll see what his take on all this stuff is, what his spin on all the lore of the area is. I don't know. Actually, Chrysanth, I'm going to have to ask Erudia if he gave Bellrock the access to the document or gave him a copy of the lore from this area for it. I don't know. Can't do that time slot. He said Tuesday, Valrock is Friday night. Oh, wait. Yeah. No, Tuesday. Okay. And that said, also, Mike giving a copy of the lore. Okay, good. So one thing I was going to mention to you is I talked about this before. I'm still trying to figure out with work being crazy and stuff that the idea that I might be doing a stream on Tuesdays instead of writing on Tuesdays, I might be doing like campaign stuff, like or little one shots or things like that to see if people sign up the week before and come on. If I get signups, then on a Tuesday we may do a 2-hour just play a game, do scenarios, play around with the world, do something like that here on this in this time slot for Tuesdays, because there were no other things going on Tuesday. But now that there may be that campaign going on, I may not be doing that. We'll see. You got it wrong, Tuesday. What? Not playing that game, but it's in the Azure Kingdom with pyramids and the sailing boats across the Talc seas. Well, the Talc is a very dangerous part of the Azure Kingdom sand. Don't sail into the Talc. That is a bad idea. Don't do it. Anyway, back here into Tennis Fall, where I'm talking about Sturf. How are we doing on time, by the way? I gotta be careful here. I've got about another half an hour. Unless they changed it again since 4:30. They might have, you never know, but probably not. All right. What is this thing? Ding, 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 ding. I'm thinking YYZ by Rush. Grabbing a table. Hopefully. Yeah, my friends are getting dinner. Those jerks, they're all getting together to have dinner at a local pub while I'm writing. People without previous commitments. Oh. We've already got another thing happening with Erudia. Okay. Speed crash your lore again to make it stick. Speed crash. Yeah, the fun things about that, I'm gonna make a mental note to myself. I'm in the middle of Silverton. There we go. The fun thing about that area is you can do so many crazy things because it is a different place. The Sodalite Deserts. And slavery. The note I put in here about slavery the other day. So that's going to be fun. So basically, it's mostly outlawed in the civilized portions of the Azure Kingdom, you know, along the Godswell River. But other areas, and Zeph is an ancient city with wide main avenues that house grand temples, spacious markets, luxurious waterfront mansions, as well as twisting alleys, slums, and dark dens which offer decadent treasures to the adventurous. Main gates are flanked by massive cyclopean fortress towers in the ancient Azurian style, each soaring over 120 feet. The wall between them pierced and guarded by thick bronze-clad wooden gates which remain open in times of peace. It's the Palace Ward, the Temple Ward, the Garden Ward, the Military Ward, the Coils. Meandering back streets, dark alleys, and centuries of buildings being built on top of older structures has led to the sinuous maze of streets known to locals as the Coils. Few who are not part of the criminal underworld dare to set foot here. Heavily guarded as luxurious, or as heavily guarded as the luxurious garden ward above, lorded over by a much darker element. The harbor is one of my favorite parts of the city that I made. Built on the shores of the Godswell River, Knetsef's Harbor is a wonder to behold. Deep and man-made, carved out of the rock and soil of the riverbank more than a millennia ago, Harbor is both a model of efficiency and an astounding feat of engineering. Connected to the river by a long rectangular main harbor where the civilian vessels moor, the main military harbor is a circular edifice restricted to only military vessels and personnel. There we go. Can house, repair, and service an entire fleet while still allowing for merchant traffic to go about its business, and even features clever water gates for overflow during the wet season. So this is that idea of, like, you know, the big harbor back here, but there's a great part that goes out into the river where you can pull an entire fleet of ships in, have them do all their stuff while the merchant vessels are out here cordoned off, going in and out. It's going to be fun. Hello, Hades Risen. You only promise to be shy, Chaos. The shyest of chaos. All right, the market ward. All right, market ward, less of an official city ward, more of a segment of the city devoted to trade and commerce. This area begins near the main gates of Netsef and hugs the outer wall for a significant distance. Goods of all sorts are sold to the general populace here, with specialized goods being relegated to their own segment of the market area. Slavery is illegal in the Azure Kingdom, so flesh may not be peddled here, though there is rumored to be a brisk and unlawful trade of unwilling servants in the Coils. And the cat market. Go to the cat market. You only look at what is there. Let's see. Mudhen. Yeah, I think you guys in this area, you're gonna have a lot of fun, because there are, in addition to all this stuff from the cities and everything, there's Grixfall, because in the cosmology or cosmogony or however you want to put it of this place, planet Erudia is here. There are other little bodies out there, but there are Grix and Kika's moons. They're the silvery moon and the dark moon, which move with each other. But they have atmospheres of their own, though obviously most people cannot get to the moon. But their atmospheres occasionally brush the atmosphere of Erudia and create little spots where you can go back and forth. I know that's not possible in real world anything, but this is a world of gods, and these moons represent the two of the gods anyway. That said, Grix, his moon, skates by. When his skates by, it goes through the asteroid belts and pulls asteroids in, and it creates Grixfall, because he couldn't quite get past their defenses easily, and he sends them, and still, even though he's not around and locked away, his moon still pulls those things out of their orbit and sends them crashing down. So Grixfall is a thing that happens across the deserts pretty often. And when it happens, it drags those meteors down, and some of them that survive crash into the desert. They punch holes, they glass the area, and if you can get to one of them, that metal is like the most amazing find. You can set yourself up for life if you found one. But the people will fight tooth and nail to get there. the bigger elements out there with their larger ships, their sand ships. Some of them with magical ability to actually float above the sand rather than ride into the sand with their sails out, can get there. And they fight whole little wars over these things when they hit. And occasionally those things will hit like villages and the edges of cities and things. So chaos. Crits fall. Yeah, that's only when you drop your fork. The idea of a place with a pyramid, it's definitely a pyramid, a place with pyramids. But I just wanted a place that had blue sand. I wanted so badly to have an unusual place with sodalite deserts. It's just the sand is unusually tinged, and these massive pyramids that were made as some of them made as tombs for dragons, the sapphire dragons. One of them who was, gave her life, and I believe all the blue sapphire dragons are dead now. But they were revered because these guys revered Orin and his knowledge, and the dragons were the firstborn. So, yeah. And there are obelisks across the desert that a wizard put up to attract the meteors so he could, harvest them himself. But he unfortunately did a really good job and drew one of them down onto his location and got obliterated. Stupid wizards. There are talc pockets out in the deserts that you do not want to get your ship in. It's a bad idea. I think you spelled it. I think you spelled sodalite right. And the other thing that I have to get in here. Oh, I should probably talk to Erudia about that. We need to get stats for the cataglyphs, the bug people, the bug men. They're bipedal ant-like people that inhabit the deserts, but they only last. They only live like less than a decade. And make hives and new hives and old hives. But yeah, they're going to be fun. They're going to be fun. The gods. Yep, there's a whole set of their own gods, and there's a state that they were created in, because in this, the gods were created by the keepers. And technically that is a way of saying you, the DM, you're the legend keeper. Technically, it's a metaphor that you made the gods. So the gods are not even sure who made them. And there are things that the gods don't even know because the keepers kept that knowledge back. So the gods are not all powerful, but they are insanely powerful. They meddled around with some of the keepers' things, and that is how the God Killer War started, which caused a whole bunch of problems and led to more than one supposedly divine being being killed during that war, and one of them being exiled. And then all the gods withdrawing from the life of mortals and heading back to their like hidden little lacunae in the stars, so to speak. So they were separate from mankind, so mankind could no longer be targeted with them walking amongst them, but also the gods not being targeted by fragments of that god killer weapon, which are still out there. So yeah, we got a whole setup for all of that. Places that are touched by the gods, places that are touched by the sons and daughters of the gods. Some of them had children, some of them survived to this day, some of them were killed in the God Killer War, and their tombs are there in the world. So yeah, it's fun stuff. But the dragons were the first race, then the elves, and then so on and so on and so on. So there was quite a rivalry, and there still is, between the dragons and the elves, because the dragons were firstborn and the elves were not. So they had a whole war, the War of the Scales. It's fun stuff. My bug people, you have to smoke the meats. Don't eat the cataglyphs. They have short lives. Those poor little ant men. But the cool thing about the cataglyphs is they build their places, their little warrens and their hives down in the desert. And after like a decade or so, their group has kind of like gone through a whole, like rabbits kind of, they've gone through a whole cycle where they're like, hey, we're going to move on. Something happened or whatever. And then suddenly one of their things will be abandoned. The gnomes and other creatures who are treasure hunters out in the desert find those abandoned cataglyph warrens, because the cataglyphs don't understand a whole lot about what all the other races find to be valuable, like gems and such. So often they will collect things like crystals and gems and things, and they're used in their structures to look pretty, look cool. And the gnomes will occasionally come across these and go in there because they're really, the cataglyphs can get around because they're very clever about how they move, but normal people walking into their warrens can break it pretty easily. So the gnomes are small enough, they can go down in there and excavate and dig in these things and get treasures out. So that's always fun too. The gem mines. Yeah, if you're a Mythic supporter, you can design a character that will get put into the game as a legend. Yep. I have no idea what half of that sentence means, DNS, but I don't like it. I don't like that sentence. Let's see. Cat Market, operated by the Order of the Black Lotus, all devotees of Davila, the goddess of hedonism and revenge. He's quite a catch. You can fix her. Probably not. The Cat Market is, I think it'll be a fun place for people to go, because it is lawful and lawless at the same time, and outside the boundaries of most of the edicts of the king of the Azure Kingdom. Hence why you can purchase slaves there. You can engage in all kinds of nefarious activities. You can have legitimate business, but whatever you do not hurt the cats. Do not hurt the cats. And they have, I believe I had it at 3 now. They have 3 great rules. The first is cheat with honor or not at all. When cheating, only do so to those of equal footing unless they have wronged you. So you can cheat someone who's as good as you or better, but don't cheat people who are lesser than you. There's no honor in that, which a lot of people don't pay attention to because they're selfish. Why would they care? Kill only in righteous retribution. Death comes to all, but to hasten its descent upon an innocent or for reasons other than revenge is the province of the immortals. So again, this is because of Davila. They're like, if it's revenge, it's okay. Other than that, why would you do it? And one lie for one truth. Because Mordecai abhors imbalance. Give a truth for each lie to keep his thumb from the scale when you're judged. So it's just more of an idea of like, yes, you can tell lies all you want. Tell truth too. And since both Davila and Mordecai are revered in the city, cats are a sacred animal to them. They're everywhere. Like a city in Turkey. All right, what did these guys say? Oh, they're typing right now. Type. But thinking gnome, you make them more appealing. Gnomes can be fun. I think gnomes could be a lot of fun. The gnomes, especially the ones in, I mean, the gnomes are in a few different spots in the world. Hauf here, this port city, is one of them. Not too far from the Tower of the Sword, where a lot of mages are trained in offensive magic and eldritch knights and things like that. But these people are the ones that they grow a lot of things on their coastal area here because it's a very rich land. They create these rations that soldiers soldiers love, but sailors love even more because they're a hardtack type of thing that lasts a long time on voyages, doesn't get bad, but it also has taste. Seal Isle has a lot of gnomes on it. They have their own arrangement with Agrium. They have their own little island where they fish and do seafood hunting and all that stuff. Quite a few in Concordia, but they're all pirates and dorks. Daru is a mining area where a lot of gnomes are from. So a crafty gnome who mines a lot would be a good one from there. But technically, there are a lot of gnomes also and small folk in Caustic Strand, Sweetgrass Hill specifically. They're all over the place, but I mean they're found in Fryland, they're found over here. You don't find gnomes as often in Kiru because it's mostly the barbarian tribes, but they could be from there too. They could be. My pirate ship out there and take their stuff. Yeah, stop taking the stuff. Is the pirate ship just something strapped to your belly when you fly around? Is it just like a koala pouch for you? Or a kangaroo pouch? Is that what I'm hearing? That's a guess. Okay. That is there. Oh, what is here? Sorry, I got some messages and I didn't look over here to see what he said. Oh, okay, yeah, just for that. Okay, the auto. Yeah, I'm not saying any of this stuff out loud because I'm not gonna break my work cone of silence. Okay, first compile. Wow. That is quite a drop. Okay, that's fantastic. Okay, yay. We've been trying to get compile times down on a specific thing. And with all these changes, it went from 1 hour to 8 minutes. Okay, make sure that that's... Oh, interesting. Huh? You got it down to 6 minutes? Oh, I see what he did. Okay, got it. I understand what he's saying now. Understanding is mine. Sometimes people communicate very interestingly, like in reverse discussions. Bam. Okay. Well, that is fantastic news. That helps a lot. Blind Pomeranian with scales. Hey, if you guys didn't tune in to on JT's channel, the Savage Talk channel, for our Cyberpunk game on Sunday, go take a peek at it. Right, Sassy? There may have been Pomeranians with steel trap, bear jaw, like teeth. I'm just saying. Just a couple. Oh, he's helping you out? Nice. Very nice, very nice, very nice. Yes, we had an interesting time with the Pomeranian cyber dogs and Bunny. Well, Trixie. Go look in his channel, look at the fan art, and then go ask Kyle questions. For Sant, if you don't know what I'm talking about, definitely go over to JT's channel and yeah. Or ask Sassy to share you some of the wonderful art she made. I'm looking right at you, Sassy. Right at you. How dare you? Poor Tito. Poor Tito, Circus's character. Yeah, Trixie. She's a cybernetic person. Do you need to... Oh, you... I don't know if you need to question Kyle, and maybe you should just assume it's going to be freaking disturbing. So, yeah. Let's see. So, I don't need to add anything at the end of this. I'll I'll be removing the food entries from these because I'm putting the food entry in its own section later, but I'm leaving them right now. Yeah, I'll leave them at the end of these. I'll go clean those up when we get to the point where we're doing final editing of the book. That will be fine. This takes me back over to Lost Alasia, where we're working on another adventure in. And we got a lot of interesting starter adventures and other adventures and planned adventures and stuff all over the place. Can you imagine that as a gnome? No, I cannot. I cannot, and I will not. When I see little red things pop up on my chat over here in my leadership channels, I'm like, okay, let's see here. Action required. Do this now? Why now? I sent my producer a message. I was like, right now? Do you really need this right now? He's not returning my typing. So I'm going to guess I don't need to do it right now because he's not immediately getting back and saying, yes, we need this now. We have till Friday to do some of this stuff, but they're very careful. They want to get it done as soon as possible. I'm like, cool. I want to go eat food in a little bit. Just saying. I like food. All right, let's see. I'm looking through this entry because I happen to be near it, and I haven't really read this one again recently. Normal text. I thought I changed these all to... Wait a second. Did I not change all of these to quotes? My gosh, this entry is very long. No wonder this book has gotten to become 300 pages long. Nope, I didn't change them. All right, I'm gonna have to go do a format pass on those because I thought I hit all these, but I guess these two I did not. I'm gonna leave it alone for the moment so I don't get too sidetracked because I only got about 10 more minutes before I have to get out of here and go eat food, ravenously eat food quickly, and then get the heck out of here. Oops. To check something. My gosh, my phone, everybody. It is trying really hard. They don't let me use my old text messaging thing on it anymore. They switched over to Google messaging or whatever it is. And boy, does that thing like to autocorrect stuff very badly. I try to type always and it's like airway. I'm like, no, always. It's like ashtray? Like, no, always. Always. All right. Lost Alasia. I'm going to go over a little bit of Lost Alasia here because I have the entry right next to me. This is a place that's, well, no longer a technical kingdom, but there are cities still here kind of holding on to their past. Shattered chain of once verdant islands was home to the beloved of Thalassa, her chosen people, the Sea Lords. Faithful worshippers of the sea goddess, their navy was stronger than even Agram's, but that all ended during the God Killer War. Their civilization was wiped from the map and existence by Grix and his forces. Get rid of that. Rewrite that to wipe from the map. Now, haunted abyss littered with shattered isles and cursed storms. Few ships ventured near, most stopping well south of Seabreak Haven in the waters that remain safe and navigable. But yeah, not a lot of boats come back any farther north than Seabreak Haven here, because going into the depths here, into the abyssal waters, not a good idea. And let's see, Alaris, the once fabled home of Thalas's chosen priest and her people, is now a haunted ruin that lies half below the waves, shattered tower slowly being eroded by Thalas's own tides. All right, I can change that to his own tides. Abelis had helped Grix destroy the realm from below, still lurk in the abyss, hiding from the gods lest they be found and dealt with for their crimes against her people. Most information regarding Alaris has been lost to the ages, and most living beings are no longer know of the network or the extensive travel network the Wizards of Alaris had in place in their heyday. Few of these constructs are in working order, but one does exist in a hidden locale near Seabreak Haven, another in the ruins of the temple that Flarp slept through in the God Crew war upon. Flarp! We're back to Flarp. Poor Flarp. Each one of these can be activated if the sequences are deciphered, allowing the users to visit the ruins of Alaris through though some of the destination gates are far below the waves. Boy, wouldn't that be fun? We stepped through a teleporter. Blorp. Good. You're 212 feet below the waterline. What now? Good luck. Good luck. Polos. And now these villages and things along here are kind of based off of Greek mythology, Greek cities, Greek sensibilities, Greek food, Greek thinking. So this is why they have the names like Pholos and Chios. Ancient village that still clings to life on the edge of the fetid salt marshes that once were the fertile plains of Thalassia. Pholos is one of the only true pieces of that Thalassian culture to survive the war. For centuries after, it was a home of the majority of refugees from Alaris and the Isles. No, I can't swim. You would have a problem. As talk of reclaiming Alaris and the old cities waned, people left, settling along the caustic strand or heading across the waves to Agrium. Those that stayed feel like they're the only true Thalassians, along with their brethren in the small coastal village of Seabreak Haven. Pholos' main export is wines, made from their hardy northern grapes that can survive the harsher climates. Attempts to cultivate the grapes elsewhere in the Godlands have failed, lucky for them, ensuring that their exports remain in demand. Secondarily, the area is battered by storms and the seas regularly disgorge ancient waterlogged trees into the swamplands, which they harvest for valuable amber and rare blackwood lumber used by artisans. Pholos is the unofficial capital of the theocracy of Thalassia, the High Cleric being considered the voice of authority over the lands. The church controls the military and militia that guards the villages, gathers taxes, I have to say and metes out justice when necessary. They have their coinage minted by the dwarves of Silvermond, mimicking the style used by their forebears. Current High Cleric is one Agathinos, a revered scholar who is nearing the end of his long life. He's taken the job of High Cleric very seriously, treating the kingdom of his goddess as a family with him as caretaker. His right-hand man, Lycos, is less charitable and wishes to steer Thalassian culture towards a rebuilding mindset. His ambitions are tempered by his loving wife, Damara, who often counsels him to cool his words and ponder before acting. Look, a marriage. Zoilos, a rich trader originally from Seabreak Haven, has returned to the area from years abroad, where he compounded his fortune in Port Castor and beyond. He is viewed with mild amusement and some distrust since his return, because he speaks often of improvements he'd make to Pholos if he had his way, talking about Agrian building styles and advancements. Dang that guy. Oh, let's see what I said here. All right. Okay, I got to wrap up here. Okay. All right. Well, I've got to wrap it up here, and I got to skedaddle to go get some food. So, sorry for a slightly shorter stream. Tuesdays, they're a tough day because I have, meetings from 8:30 throughout the entire day until now. Fun times. But that all said, this was fun. I had fun chatting with you all. I got a whole bunch of editing and writing done. all over the damn document, which was good. And yeah, I'm going to get out of here, and I will leave you all to your own devices, and I'm going to go calm my growly stomach. And I'll talk to you guys a little bit later. So have a great night, and I will see you guys here again on Thursday for more of this. Yay! Have a great night. Bye.